Hi there pop pickers, do you remember the halcyon days of the late 1980s? And do you remember the hit music of stock Aitken Waterman that seemed to be the soundtrack of those years? Well, that's what I'm going to be talking about in this video. Recently, I was watching this year's Glastonbury Festival and Rick Astley's performance in particular, and it took me back to the summer of 1987. At the time, my wife was running a snack bar on a holiday camp in Essex, and I was basically a relief manager on an amusement complex there. One day I would be in the bingo, the next I'd be in 2 amusement arcades, and the next looking after a set of dodgems. It was a pretty varied working week for me, but I spent most of the time in the bingo helping the manager and mixing with the bingo players. One of the bingo regulars owned a holiday home on the camp and would be there every weekend and during all of the holidays. This meant we got to see her often and got to know her well. She was a typical East Ender, friendly, outgoing, and often with a story to tell. Eventually, we got to talking about music, as we always do, and what we liked and what we didn't like. It was during one of those conversations that she told me she had 2 nieces who were pop stars and in the charts at that moment in time. Being me, I said to her, I hope they're not one of those stock Aitken Waterman groups, because every other record on the radio seemed to be one that originated from those studios. At the time I thought of them as formulaic pop rubbish, with the exception of Rick Astley, whose voice I quite liked. Before I tell you what she said, please hit that button if you're enjoying the video and feel free to leave a comment down below. It turned out that her nieces were Mel and Kim, who were indeed stock Aitken Waterman group and were riding high at the time with their hit FLM in the top 10. A week later she turned up with a copy of the first CD and some signed photos for me and a white dress that one of them had worn in one of their videos for the singles, which she gave to the bingo manager's daughter. As we watched Rick Astley, I was telling Debs how much I hated stock Aitken Waterman at the time, but I've come to realise that it wasn't actually as bad as I'd thought. These days I look back on it fondly. What I've come to realise is that it was perfectly crafted pop. Songs that were upbeat and cheerful, and from hating them I now love them. What's more, the songs have become classic UK pop hits too. Now if you're watching this video and you haven't yet subscribed, please do, as I often chat about music, and I'd love to have you join our little community. That's the thing about music. There's something for everyone. It doesn't matter what you like, because at the end of the day, it's yours to like. There's plenty of music I can't stand that many others love. But here's the thing, just because I can't stand some artists, it doesn't mean that they're not good. It just means that they're not for me. They weren't written for people like me. They have their own audience. It doesn't mean that I'm right and have superb music taste and that if you like them, you're wrong. Music touches all of us in different ways. I've loved music all my life. My collection comprises of music from Frank Sinatra to Led Zeppelin to the Arctic Monkeys. I used to hate stock Aitken Waterman. I don't anymore, and I'm glad about that. I get as much joy from hearing Rick's hits as I do from hearing the Kaiser Chiefs singing Ruby, for example, or the Eagles and Lying Eyes, and long may that continue. I love oldies because they remind me of my life, good and bad. I love musical naffness as much as I do the virtuosity of others. And I feel sorry for those who can't feel the same. Those that are enclosed in the my genre closet and aren't open into listening to other things. Don't get me wrong, I don't go out of my way anymore to listen to what's cool and trendy now. I don't pretend to like something modern in order to keep a bit of street cred. I honestly couldn't care less anymore. I'm happy to hear what I like. What was great though was that Rick Astley's voice still sounds great and the crowds at Glastonbury loved him too. And if you'd like to click up there, you can take a trip back to when record shops were the best shops.